Tips from the ER. Code Blue. Ah, yes. If your daily caffeine intake hasn't woken you up yet, a code blue certainly will. If you ever hear this over the loudspeakers of a hospital, it means someone somewhere has either stopped breathing or their heart stopped working. Hopefully it isn't you. But if it is, don't you worry. A team of doctors, nurses, respiratory therapists, and whoever else can get their pants on will rush to come find you and bring you back to life. And just like the TV shows, they will run, and fast. So if anyone's in the hallways, get out of the way. Hearing code blue in the hallways is like hearing sirens on the streets. Pull to the motherfucking right! I have no idea why they call it a code blue. If I had to guess, it might be because the person turns blue when they stop breathing or when they're dead. Wouldn't want that to be you. Code blue! Tips from the ER. Code red. Ah, yes. We're all too familiar with the sweet deafening sound of a fire alarm. If you hear code red, it means somewhere in the hospital, there's a fire! When this happens, you'll notice people around you trying to close all the doors. It may feel like they're trying to trap you in to burn, but it's actually to prevent the fire from spreading too quickly, if there really is one. I've experienced so many code red drills, I've become completely numb. I can't remember the last time I picked my ass up and left the building because of a fire alarm. If there really is a fire, I will be cooked to a crisp. So don't look to me for guidance, motherfuckers. I'm just some idiot on TikTok wearing scrubs. If you see a fire, implement RACE. Remove from danger, sound the alarms, contain the fire, extinguish if safe, and evacuate your ass. Code red! Tips from the ER. Code black. But Dr. Burke, what do you mean there's a live bomb inside that living man's chest? That's never happened in the history of hospital histories. Leave it to a medical TV show to put a bomb inside a person inside a hospital. If you hear code black, it means it's time to pick your motherfucking ass up and evacuate. There's a bomb in the building, and you don't want to be there when it goes kaboom. It's probably one of the worst things that could happen to a hospital, right next to being crushed by a once-in-a-lifetime pandemic while running out of masks, gowns, and beds to take care of patients. Even if you didn't know what it means, hearing code black can easily put someone on edge. If we're trying to use codes to prevent panic amongst patients, might I suggest we change bomb threat to code bubbles? There's a bomb, code bubbles. Tips from the ER. Code pink. If you've already been in the ER for 5 hours getting your finger sewn up because you had a little accident with a kitchen knife, be prepared to be there a little longer. If there's a code pink, we're locking this bitch down. No one's leaving because there's a baby missing. That's right, we couldn't get the slime off of it fast enough before somebody decided your baby was too cute not to take home. Code pink means someone stole a baby or the nurse accidentally gave it to the wrong mother. Either way, we can't find them and we're blaming everybody until the little poop monster shows back up. You can bet I'll be in the hallways looking at you, looking at me, looking for a baby. If you happen to see somebody holding a bundle of blankets with an umbilical cord hanging out of it, notify your nearest hospital personnel. If you happen to be holding a baby, you might get tackled. Even if that baby is yours, we can't take any chances. No hard feelings. Code pink! Tips from the ER. Code silver. Away! Code silver means someone in the hospital has a weapon and they're on the loose. So hide your kids, hide your wife, and hide your husband, because there's no telling what's gonna happen. This dangerous person could have a gun, a samurai sword, or a rubber duck. You never know. The wrong items in the right hands could be fatal. But it's probably a gun. Regardless, you need to be on high alert. So drop your shit and get to safety, motherfuckers. Not your literal shit, of course. Scared as you might be, you don't want to leave a trail for the shooter to come find you. Get to a hiding spot, lock the doors, and for the love of God, silence your phones. For another video on Code Silver, check out Dr. Karan Rajan's hilarious version. Tips from the ER. Code Brown. I know what some of you sick motherfuckers want this to be about, but you can shit the bed all you want. Code Brown has nothing to do with poop, unless that poop is falling from the sky, because Code Brown means there's a severe weather warning. That's right, motherfuckers. Tornadoes, hurricanes, blizzards, floods, whatever Mother Nature decides to kick our asses with, the hospitals will have one big decision to make. Shelter in place or evacuate. If a hospital is in the direct line of a tornado, you could bet your ass they're gonna evacuate, which won't be easy. We could barely get your senile grandma up to go to the bathroom. How do you think we're gonna convince her to run away from a tornado? If a hospital decides to shelter in place, they're gonna shut down all non-essential services and elective surgeries. So your boob job is just gonna have to wait, AA. As for the ER, we're not shutting down until that tornado hits the doorstep. We're essential. We don't get paid any more than anyone else in the hospital, but when the time comes, we will be sacrificed for the greater good. Code Brown! Tips from the ER. Code Gray. One of the most common hospital codes used in the emergency room. A code gray means there's an abusive or combative person on the loose, and it's not always the patient. Sometimes it's the patient's crazy family members. If a code gray has ever been called on you, it means you're being a little naughty, motherfucker, and you deserve a spanking. Not by me, of course. That's gonna cost you extra, but by our trusty security guards. Hopefully by the time they show up, you come to your senses and chill out, or else you're gonna get tackled, tied down, and restrained. It usually doesn't have to get too physical, though. Something about the sight of a bunch of security guards in uniform always seems to relax a violent person in the hospital. But in my experience, security guards also come in all different shapes and sizes. So let's hope the biggest ones show up, or we may all just have to get a little workout in today. Code Gray! Tips from the ER. The Q word. Medical workers in the ER are very superstitious and are most triggered by the Q word. If you come into the ER and it's a little eerie because we have no patients and everyone is calmly sitting, don't you dare comment on it. Specifically, don't say the Q word! Ask anyone in the ER and they'll tell you it's a proven fact that saying the Q word is a green light for anarchy and disorder to descend upon the ER and wreak havoc. It's gonna get busy and it's gonna be your fault. Don't believe me? Get this. Someone said the Q word once and I saw 5 ambulances, 10 patients, and a tsunami show up to the emergency room. Facts. So next time you're in the ER, if you don't want us to hate you, don't say it's quiet. Motherfucker. Tips from the ER. Burns. First degree. If you've just burned your hand touching something hot like a baking sheet, curling iron, or yourself, because you're one sizzling hot motherfucker, fear not. The first thing you're going to want to do with a burned hand is run it under cool water. Not ice cold water, cool water. We got to slowly cool down your hand, which means you're going to leave it under cool water for longer than 5 minutes, people. Also, stop putting unnecessary shit on your burns. Toothpaste, butter, soap, eggs, raw meat. Where'd you even learn this shit from? Are you trying to make things worse to come see us in the ER? Because you don't have to. First degree burns aren't typically life-threatening. Just depends on where it is and how big. For example, if you burned your entire fucking face or a large portion of your body because you were laying out in the sun too long without sunscreen, then maybe go seek medical help. But definitely always put on sunscreen. Tips from the ER. Burns. Second degree. It's what happens when you won't take your hand off the stove fast enough to go run it under cool water. Not ice cold water, cool water. Leave it under cool water for as long as you can. And don't listen to your crazy family members try to talk you into questionable home remedies like mayonnaise, mustard, and toothpaste. Just use cool water. If you don't quickly cool down a burned body part, that heat will travel into the second layer of your skin, turning your first degree burn into a second degree burn, making you slightly more fucked. You'll know it's a second degree burn because it's gonna start to swell up and blister. But don't pop those blisters, motherfuckers! If you pop those blisters, that area is now an open wound, making it more easily infected and making you slightly more fucked. But if it's already popped, don't you worry. Clean it off with cool water, wrap it up in something loose that won't stick to it, and get your ass down to the ER. We'll make sure it's not that serious, get you some ointment, wrap you back up, and send you back into the wild. Tips from the ER. Burns. Third degree. It's what happens when you do too much heroin and fall asleep to an apartment full of lit candles. One candle slips and everything in your apartment goes up in flames, including you. But you don't have the senses to wake up, you're too zonked out on heroin. Now you're laying in the ER with a stomach so burnt it feels more like a door than human skin. Is that a real story? Who knows? But a third degree burn, there's not much you can do at home. Get your ass to the ER hospital ASAP and hope that hospital is an official burn center. If not, they'll likely transfer you to one because not all hospitals are equipped to deal with serious burns, motherfuckers. If the burn starts to affect your breathing and circulation, because your skin is so charred up it can't expand, they'll have to do something called an escharotomy. That's when they cut into your dead skin just a little bit to release the pressure. The good news is, at that point, your skin is probably so burnt it won't have any nerve endings or pain receptors left to even feel anything.